Now, let's get into a bit more detail about how to go about building your business model around your most important consideration, your customer. This is a simplified way in which to go about defining your business model, particularly relating to who your customer is, what you plan to offer them, and how you're going to differentiate yourself from your competitors. What we're going to address here mainly deals with creating a space to occupy in the mind of the consumer or business you are trying to target. The more competitive the field you're going into, the more time you're going to have to spend defining what your offer will be. We will deal with the key concepts of customer definition, customer value proposition, as well as pricing. The first step is to define your customer. One of the starting points is to identify your target market. Your target market will depend on what gap it is that you identified that inform the decision to start your business. For example, if you identified that children in communities like yours love video games, but the disposable income levels in communities like yours are too low to afford what's currently on the market, and you'd like to create a way in which those children could access video games at a price they can afford, then that's where you start. Those are the attributes of your market. Perhaps the market segment in which your community falls is the bottom of the pyramid. Then that's your first attribute. The age range of the kids you are trying to target is roughly 11 to 17. That's your second attribute. Then you go on from there. You don't need to get complicated or too theoretical or complex about it. Just define it in the simplest terms that you understand. The key output of your customer definition phase is the specific customer preferences and needs you are planning on addressing. This will then inform the scope of your products or services. For example, do you want to cater for digital board games, augmented reality, digital puzzles? Your customer preferences and needs will dictate which direction you should go. What will greatly help you here is some research about the trends in the industry you wish to play. You start on a wider scope and then narrow down to the particular market you want to reach. Your customer definition then informs your customer strategy. What do you intend on being your main value proposition based on the customer you've defined and the main preferences and needs you've decided your business is going to address? Think of this within the scope of the exact customer you've defined. Finally, once you've determined your value proposition, then you can start thinking about your product or service mix, as well as your pricing model. Your value proposition should give you an idea of what your pricing model would more or less look like. Not the exact pricing just yet, but how you're going to go about setting your pricing. Again, have your market research handy in terms of the general pricing tiers currently available for similar products and services. If you're meeting a need customers don't yet know they have, then pricing mostly depends on the perceived value of your product or service. We will chat more about pricing models in lesson 4. Now that we've got our map, let's go ahead to lesson 3 and start defining our customer centered business model. Starting with how to go about defining your customer.